We added JavaScript and CSS loaders. Now, after our very long CSS loader here, I'll add another rule. And that rule should test for images. So here the regular expression will check for files ending with PNG, JPEG, which also might be written with an E, therefore it's optional, the E is optional, or GIFs, let's say. That is the file endings, or these are the file endings we support. And for these files, I want to use a loader we have to install with npm install --save dev, of course, the URL loader. Now, the URL loader is a loader which will take our images, and if they are below a certain limit we define, it will actually convert them into Data64 URLs, which it can inline into our documents, so we don't have to download an extra file. But for bigger files that would be inefficient, so files above that limit we specify will simply be copied to our output folder, and it will then generate a link to these files and put that into our import we use in our components. What we do here is we use the URL loader here, but now we configure it with query params. And we do it with query params so that the configuration here gets automatically passed on to a fallback we will use if the limit is exceeded. Now that fallback is another loader we also need to install though. So that is what I'll also do here is, before I continue configuring this, I'll run npm install --save dev file -loader. Now that is a loader which in the end simply copies the file, you could say. So it copies it into a new direction and gives us a link to it. And that is the fallback we'll use automatically here if we exceed the limit we now define here. As a query param, limit could be, let's say, 8,000 kilobytes. So anything above that will not be inlined, but will be copied. And we need to pass some configuration to the file loader, the name, and that's also the path of where we want to store that file. I'll use images / and then name.ext. These are placeholders taking the original name and extension. So the image is going to get copied into that folder in our dist folder, because that output setup is taken into account, even though we're not creating a bundle.js file, but the path still is taken into account. So that is where our images will end up at if they're exceeding this limit. So this is our loader for images, and with that, the image files we import in our JavaScript files shouldn't pose a problem anymore. Now you can add more rules for different file types, for fonts for example, but I'll keep it to this for now, and let's now turn our heads towards plugins we might want to use, and then most importantly have a look at how this actually works and if it does work.